Corolla used to mean economy sedan for more than 50 years, but now that nameplate has diversified and just saying Corolla is not enough. We need to know if you mean that familiar little sedan, or do you mean the Corolla Cross, or do you mean the GR Corolla? And then even as of 2020, we've got a Corolla sedan hybrid, and as of 2023, we've got a Corolla Cross Hybrid, and that is what we're talking about today. If you're looking for an affordable compact crossover with great gas mileage, chances are good this was already on your list. What we have today specifically is the 2023 Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid XSE. So that's the top trim of the three. One important note, Toyota does also have the Corolla Cross in three trims, but they're three different trims. So we can really tell that they're treating that as a different model from the hybrid. And so are we, but we're gonna talk about both of them today. You'll find them all for sale over at CarGurus.com, along with tons of data and full written reviews to help you make your decision. Just please subscribe to this channel before you go. And if you want to know what it's been like to live with this for a week, stick around. Toyota has 8 different SUVs and crossovers up on its site right now. That's without even getting into powertrain differentiation, so there are an awful lot of choices. I would say I'm seeing the family resemblance between this and the RAV4 most. The grille does turn down a little bit more at the corners, and then the hybrid Corolla Cross distinguishes itself a bit from both the base Corolla Cross and the RAV4 with this body colored section right here. That really sets it apart. Overall though, I think the general impression is pretty similar. The LED headlights are standard for the Corolla Cross Hybrid. LED fog lights are top trim only. Also exclusive to this top trim are the 18-inch wheels with the black accents. We've got silver 17-inch alloy wheels for the other 2 trims. Now this color, this is called Acidic Blast, and I have to say that that name does not add to its attraction for me, but let us know what you think of it in the comments. And then this one has the 2-tone paint job. That's giving it the black roof, the black rear spoiler. That's a $500 option on SE and XSE trims only. Both of those 2 trims do come standard with the black roof rails. Toyota calls this sport styling. They're going for youthful with the Corolla Cross, and that extra performance of the hybrid makes this a little bit sportier. I think that's fair. We can see it in the black badging, the smoked emblem up front. Now, this power liftgate is not standard even on the top trim. We have it as part of the convenience package, which also adds the moonroof. So let's go see what that looks like. It's not the biggest moonroof in the world, and it is an extra cost option on either of those 2 higher trims. I think I would still go for it because I just like a little bit of extra light and it helps brighten up this interior. Now, on the subject of light, the ambient lighting is a top trim exclusive, so are the heated seats and the 10-way power adjustable driver's seat. Otherwise, this one will be 6-way manual adjust. Passenger's front seat is always 4-way manual adjust. Now the plastics, the materials, they feel a little bit cheap. That's pretty expected for the class. This is a more affordable vehicle. That said, I do feel like Honda and Mazda tend to pull off a bit of a more premium feel even at a lower price point, but they do not have hybrids in this size, so it's not really a fair comparison. On the materials front, these Softex trimmed mixed media seating surfaces that we get on the top trim are not bad, actually kind of nice looking. And this stripe kind of breaks up the darkness of the black interior. Now we do have more space in this front row than we would get in the larger Kia Sportage hybrid, but let's talk about that back row. Legroom does suffer in the Corolla Cross, it's just 32 inches, and the dual zone air conditioning, as well as this rear folding armrest, these are top trim exclusives, but at least we do get seat vents for the rear seat, plus we get the 60-40 split flat folding rear seats standard on every trim. You get 21.5 cubic feet of cargo space behind these seats, so it loses a little bit for the battery in the hybrid version compared to the gas-powered Corolla Cross. This tonneau cover for the cargo space, that's standard on the top XSE trim. It's available on the middle SE trim, cannot be optioned at all on the base trim. You do lose a little bit of space with a hybrid, but in exchange you get more power and substantially better gas mileage. So the Corolla Cross Hybrid gets 196 horsepower as compared to 169 for the gas-powered version, and you do feel that extra pep, especially accelerating from a stop. Those 3 electric motors really help to support the 2-liter 4-cylinder gas engine. The Corolla Cross Hybrid comes with standard all-wheel drive, where it's just optional on the gas-only Corolla Cross. But even with that standard all-wheel drive, this one still does better as the hybrid by a full 10 miles per gallon on gas mileage than that base gas-only Corolla Cross, even in its most efficient front-wheel drive variant. The EPA estimates for the Corolla Cross Hybrid are 45 city, 38 highway, and 42 combined. Now, you might have noticed that gas mileage has the hybrid doing better in the city than on the highway. That's not what we're used to hearing, but it is pretty typical of hybrids. They spend more time in EV mode at lower speeds, for one thing, and when you're in more stop and go, you're benefiting more from the braking regen. So if you do a lot of your driving in the city, that's something you're going to want to consider. The steering isn't bad. It's not overly synthetic, not too light. It is pretty light. I did have really high hopes for the steering in this vehicle because I really like the steering feel in the Toyota Highlander and most of the Lexuses I've driven. This is not quite there, but it certainly could be a lot worse. And then for the brakes, there's a lot of pedal travel before you actually start feeling it slow down, start getting that response. And I would say that the braking feel is a little on the spongy side, but not terrible. It is pretty noisy when the engine is engaged. You can really tell the difference when it's in EV mode and when it's not, but I don't think it's because it's an especially loud engine on its own. I think it's more that this cabin is not super well insulated against noise, and that's pretty typical of an economy car. Gotta cut costs somewhere. They're not cutting costs on safety though. Toyota Safety Sense 3.0 is standard on every Corolla Cross. That's regardless of trim or powertrain, and it's a pretty comprehensive suite of driver assistance features, including things like adaptive cruise control, road sign assist, and automatic high beams. So what might be more interesting to talk about is what's not standard. Front and rear parking assist with automatic braking, that is a top trim exclusive. So is the backup camera with special dynamic grid lines. A backup camera is standard because it's legally required, but with those grid lines to help you out, that's top trim only. Blind spot monitor with rear cross traffic alert only comes in the top 2 trims, and the adaptive front lighting system, that's different from automatic high beams. Adaptive front lighting turns your headlights with your steering wheel. That is only available on the top trim and only as an extra cost option. The Corolla Cross is aimed at a digital native demographic, but it's also meant to be an affordable option. So they're walking kind of a fine line here between meeting those mobile needs and keeping costs down. For example, we have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto standard. Not the biggest screen, but I'm sure that there are plenty of people who would much rather have that functionality than a flashy display if they have to choose one. This one has a 7-inch digital gauge cluster because it's the top trim. The other two have a 4.2-inch display. It's possible to get a Wi-Fi hotspot on any Corolla Cross with a subscription, and you're guaranteed at least 2 USB-C ports or up to 4. Wireless charging comes with the top 2 trims, and there's an available 9-speaker JBL premium audio system. So it's nothing too impressive, but it's not too shabby either. Not crazy impressive, but not too shabby either. That about sums it up for this vehicle, which is by design. That's pretty much the sweet spot for this class. Now, the Corolla Cross for 2023 starts under $25,000, which is pretty uncommon for a new car these days. The hybrid is a little bit more expensive. This has a base MSRP of around $28,000 for the base trim, up to about $31,000 for this top trim. Ours, as tested, stickers for $35,580. That's with everything you can add, all the extra packages and options, plus the destination fee. There aren't really a ton of direct competitors to consider because there just aren't really a ton of hybrid compact crossovers right now. If we're talking Corolla Cross, my first thought would be the Honda HR-V, but that does not have a hybrid version, at least not yet. And we could look at the Kia Sportage Hybrid. It's a little bit bigger. It does come with Kia's famously long warranty, but its base price, even for the base trim, starts at more than $30,000, and it's only rated for 38 miles per gallon, so you're not gonna get as good gas mileage as you would with this. Another perhaps obvious model to cross-shop might be Toyota's own RAV4. That comes in a hybrid or a plug-in hybrid option. It's gonna be a little bit more expensive, it's bigger and more premium. If you're not married to the SUV ride height, that opens up your options even further because you could look at sedans, including the Corolla sedan hybrid, which Cliff just compared to the Prius, so check out that video as well. Whatever you're considering, head over to CarGurus.com for great deals plus tons of info, and please don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our next review.